welcome back. We're in the beautiful white beach of Boracay. The gorgeous white beach, hanging out here. Just had some lunch. Enjoyed the lunch today. Had a picnic on the beach. And then now we're gonna go for a swim. So we're gonna talk about what's happening in Boracay and what happened in the past. We're gonna talk about that right now. Boracay Island was basically an unsettled island. There was just the local natives, the Itas, the dark-skinned people. We went there, we went to Malay, we went to the Ita village. The Ita people were the original settlers of this island. There was nobody but the Ita. They're similar to like the American Indians, where they just pretty much just lived here, and then the people took over and they started kicking them out, I guess you could say. And the Itas were here for lots of years, possibly thousands of years. And then they started sending people here. There started being backpackers from like Europe and places like that. They started coming to the island in maybe around the 60s or so, 1960s and early 70s. It was a backpackers island. There wasn't even electricity. They had tiki lights and it was just beautiful. It was natural. And the people started to come slowly but surely to Boracay Island. So as time went, a lot of the Filipino people, they started to like acquire the land, and this is the front beach right behind us. It goes on for about 3 kilometers. It's the white sandy beach. And a lot of the people were purchasing or taking the land and colonizing it and started making a business right on the beach. That's exactly what happened with the development of the front beach. It started slowly and it kept increasing more and more as the tourists came in the 60s, into the 70s, and it started booming in the 80s. People start making businesses out of renting for these backpackers, and then slowly but surely more and more people came to the island. Some of these houses here behind us, the one way in the corner over here, that was the first house that I went to when I came to the island. People were making businesses out of renovating their house and renting it to people visiting the island for the first time. That's exactly how the island began. It began as just a slow, sleepy place where people would rent out their places to the backpackers. A German man by the name of Jocelyn Boskowitz, he developed the first luxury resort on the island of Boracay. It was called Paradise Garden. I stayed there when I first came here visiting the island, and it was a beautiful resort. He built with an Italian partner. They built this resort, and it was the first luxury resort on the island, and they got all the business. People that wanted a nice hotel in the early 80s, they would go to Paradise Garden because that was the only place on the island they could go and rent, and he did a lot of business. As the island grew more and more, the Paradise Garden, everyone saw that they were cleaning up, and so competition is people were starting to build luxury hotels. There was other people saying that there was only one hotel, and they said, we've got to build a hotel. And then they started building more and more slowly hotels, and more people started coming to Boracay Island. It started becoming slowly but surely a travel destination. The backpackers slowly faded away, slowly but surely. It was originally the backpacking island for mostly European backpackers. And then as these hotels kept increasing and growing, the backpackers started to be less and less. And they started building these hotels for more luxury, more people who wanted to stay. The backpackers pretty much were not welcome after they started building the hotels. Slowly but surely, they started building more and more of these hotels all over the island, and there was lots and lots of hotels. There was over a couple hundred hotels. Everybody was doing what? They wanted to build a hotel here on Boracay Island, because the people started increasing more and more and more. So the hotels were built more and more and more. Every year for like 15 straight years, it would be a gradual increase of a little bit more, of the tourists to the island. It was just growing slowly every year, and there was no downside. There was no down years. However, there was a high season and a low season. The high season is now in the summer. April, May, March, April, May is the summer, and that's when all the people would come. And then during the rainy season, for a few months of the year, the people would not come. So there would be nobody on the island, or it'd be just the local people. So that's how it originally started. There was a high season, everybody came for the summer, and then after the summer's over, they all went home. It just kept increasing more and more each year, like I said. In the year 2019, there was 2.2 million visitors to Boracay Island. This place was wild and crazy. They had cruise ships right behind me over here. They had lots of cruise ships docked. All the cruise ship companies were booking to come here. They were dumping off lots of people. They weren't really helping that much, and people were getting a little upset because the people who were coming here on the cruise ships, the tourists, they would just come here. They probably wouldn't spend much money. They just would like use the facilities, make a mess, and then they would leave. So after a while, people were getting upset. At the beginning, everyone thought, oh, that's really great news. We get cruise ships, we got lots of money coming in and building the economy. But as time went on, the cruise ships, the money wasn't coming in, and the people were getting a little mad. So they decided that all the pollution, all the problems they had with the cruise ships, they decided that they didn't want them no more because there was no benefit. So they went ahead and started cutting the cruise ships. For several years, they used to have a event coming on in April, at the end of April, called La Boracay. And La Boracay was just a big party. They had the beaches all full of people. They had parties, they had all-night parties. It was just a wild event. Boracay Island suddenly turned into the party island. It was a pretty fun place. I'm not a big partier. I don't drink and smoke and stuff like that. But everybody was coming to Boracay Island, and they were partying their butts off. They were drinking, they were smoking, and they were just having a lot of fun, especially on the La Boracay time. They were just going wild. It was just a crazy party. Everyone was going nuts. I must admit, there was severe abuses going on the island. A lot of these hotels were dumping their raw sewage and sewage onto the beach. They'd dig these pipes, and then they would dump them under the ground, and then there was just lots of abuses. The people were getting wild, disrespectful, lots of pollution on the beach. I did a lot of cleanup too on the beach, and it was a mess. People totally disrespected. The beautiful white sandy beach was no longer beautiful and white sandy. It was dirty, and it needed to be cleaned up. Everybody came to Boracay to party, but it was causing a lot of environmental damage, that's for sure. And when the new president was sworn in, Rodrigo Duterte, he said that Boracay Island was a cesspool. It was really bad. It needed to be cleaned up because it is one of the gems of the Philippines, and it was just being destroyed by the abuses and everyone having too much fun. And they decided they're going to go ahead and have a massive cleanup on the island. April 26, 2018, they ordered a complete closure of the island, the president did, and it was closed for a mandatory 6 months for a rehab. They were going to just go ahead and start cleaning up the island. They brought in the military. They went ahead and all these particular buildings here, they checked with detectors if there was pipes being buried. They would violate the violators with tickets, and they went ahead and dug up all the pipes, start cleaning everything up. Everything was changed. April 26, 2018. They started a complete overhaul of the island, complete overhaul of the infrastructure. Before, a lot of the telephone poles were down in the street, and I had friends in America, and they were laughing at the way it was here. And they went ahead and they took all those low poles down, and then they went ahead and they raised the electricity lines, the power lines, the telephone lines, everything went up really high. They went ahead and widened the road, and they just made the island beautiful. They put red brick pavers on the sidewalk and underground drainage. They started developing Boracay Island. It was hard for the people during those 6 months of the cleanup. The president gave just a 2 weeks notice, and then the people had to get ready for a 6-month closure of the island. No tourists, only the locals were allowed on and off. And it was difficult because it was difficult for people to get the food, and you know, people just weren't ready for it. Some people had debts, and then they had a total closure of the island for 6 months. It lasted until October 26, 2018, and then they reopened the island. They had a big party, a big celebration, the opening of Boracay. They thought the closure was going to be 6 months, which it was, and they thought that they were going to be able to get it all done in 6 months, and they just scratched the surface. So the work of the rehab, the infrastructure, continued even though the island had been reopened. They had built a main road from the jetty port to the mall, which is a main traffic area, and they did a lot of good work in those 6 months, but there was a lot of work left to do. The rehab was going really well. Everything was going great, and things were starting to pick up. The people were coming back to the island. Everybody was excited to come back to Boracay Island, and the infrastructure was taking a big improvement. Everything was great, and then the coronavirus hit. The rehab of the island has continued all the past year. During the coronavirus times, they've continued to go full force, and the island is just taking a complete turn for the better. The roads are wide, the red brick sidewalk is there, the telephone poles are high now. Everything is starting to look beautiful. They painted the curbs white, they have flower boxes. It's just really beautiful. They've really done a completely magnificent job with the island. However, the coronavirus has really caused a major impact with the citizens, the people, the locals, and the businesses. There's an ice cream man right here looking to get some business. The business went down when the tourists didn't come on the island, and the local people who were dependent on the tourists, they had a hard time too. And the government and local people, foreigners, lots of people chipping in to help each other out. So it's been really an act of kindness and humanity to the people. Lots of people have really suffered since the COVID. They had the 2018 6-month closure, and everybody was just starting to rebound from that. And then they had the coronavirus. It's lasted for more than a year now, and that's really hit the people quite heavily. There's good and bad to everything, correct? And the good is that the island has completely taken an overhaul of the good. It's changed. It's turned into a world-class travel destination, even during the coronavirus times. And the beach has been very beautiful. It's been able to get rejuvenated again. It's so gorgeous. So when the time comes that Boracay Island is open for tourists, lots of people will probably be coming back to the island because it is really beautiful. Boracay Island was also close to being like number 1, 2, or 3 best beach in Asia and the world. And now with the total island infrastructure overhaul, it's got to be number 1. Local businesses can't wait to get the island back up and running and travel going in, but the virus thing has really caused a slowdown on that, and they've done the working on the streets and getting the infrastructure full bore during the pandemic time, but the people haven't had the business, and the money's a little tight right now, and people are helping each other eat, like I mentioned, and it's just a hardship on people to have this go on and on and on. No travel. The airlines are hurting too because they've been forced to shut down. They can't really fly very much. The whole country has really taken a hit. Here we are, May 1, 2021, and we're waiting for this pandemic thing to get over with. And getting the business back in order is really going to be good, because when they open up the island again for travel, it looks like everything is going to be done, and the island is going to be really gorgeous. People are going to really be happy. They've done a big treatment facility on the sewage on the back beach. They process it. They have a 2-step processing. I mean, they've done everything they could to make the island beautiful and self-sustained. They got rid of all the motorcycles, they call them tricycles. They're like motorcycles with sidecars. They got rid of all them, and they went green. Boracay Island is all electric e-trikes now. So if you come here and you want to go somewhere, everything is electric. So that's nice. They want to save the environment, make it beautiful. So they're trying to do everything they can to make the island more beautiful. There's a proposal to do a bridge on Boracay, doing a bridge from Boracay to the mainland. San Miguel, which runs the airport, they want to do that. They have a big hotels. They have a Hyatt or Marriott being built, almost done in Cataclan by the airport. So they have a vested interest to possibly build a bridge so they could bring people back and forth. And there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons to the bridge. I kind of like the bridge, but a lot of people kind of don't like the bridge. So it's going to have some benefits and it's going to have some disadvantages as well. That's it, Boracay Island, May 1, 2021. Let's see what tomorrow brings. We're hoping that this pandemic thing is going to get over with soon so everyone can get back to business. Everyone's ready. They're biting at the chomp. They're ready to start the business again. Everyone's ready for that. I'm ready for it to open up too. So thank you so much for watching the blog on Boracay. We know it's going to open and we know people are going to love the island. It's so gorgeous. Look at the white beach, the blue water. It's just gorgeous. Thank you so much, and we're going to see you next time.